Hey guys, thank you for watching our YouTube channel. We love our YouTubers. We are channeling from Wacky Wednesday. Please subscribe below, like us, add us on Facebook, anything. So, I don't know if you guys heard recently, but there was this big huge thing on the news last night about this woman, but we don't really know what she is, got murdered. Um, it was on High in Wall Street last night, and they said that the victim looks like she has strange physical features. Our close friend Henry was at the scene, who we went to school with, and he told us that he has personally saw this supposed woman, and he estimated that she was 7 feet tall and 3 inches, weighed about 350 pounds, had one eyeball, fur as hair, and had horse hooves as feet. So obviously very weird and not normal at all. And this woman has been remained unnamed, and she said that, or Henry reported to us that this woman looks like she's been cloned from different body parts and different human parts, and some extreme deformities. They have scientists right now that are trying to determine if this is a human or animal, even though, humans are animals. We just have the remnants of her body. We don't know if she is, she's dead now. We can't prove anything. And, but she did have human-like characteristics, but she also has, animal-like characteristics. So they're, up for this big debate, and CNN has this all, covering all of their channels. But this definitely reminds me of something. This book I read when I was a senior in high school called Frankenstein, and it just talked about all these weird things deformities and adding misplaced body parts, being rejected by society, because at the crime scene Henry told us that everything was really sketchy, and nobody wouldn't really talk about it, and everybody was afraid of her, she's coming back to life, and just everything was really sketchy. But I'll hand it off to Keela in a second.
Hi guys, so I'm a doctor, and so I'm going to tell you about how cloning could have happened in this situation. For those of you who don't understand what cloning is, it's something that you don't see every day. Cloning is basically DNA being copied. There are two types of ways this could happen. There is research in cloning, and there is reproduction cloning. Most people use research in cloning. Research in cloning is when you take the inner part of a cell and you put it in a stem cell, and then these cells can be used for research in the right areas. So not at home, but in a field or in a doctor's office. These cells can be used, for research, and that's what could have happened in this case. Another case is reproduction cloning, is when you clone the DNA and it is taken from the uterus of a woman that's pregnant that wants a cloned baby. So then you put it back inside the woman with another clone after electricity hits it, and what happens is that you recreate a baby. The baby is cloned, and the baby will have the same DNA as the donor egg, which is the mom or anyone else if that's possible. And but they say that this is really theoretic. It's only really worked with animals, so this is really sketchy and different.
Hey again. So we printed off some pictures about what we think this woman, we're calling it for now, looks like. So we said again she's 7 feet, a little bit more, and then 350-ish pounds. So this woman, I don't know if you guys can see her, but obviously super tall and pretty big. So we're estimating that's what she looks like, kind of, just to give you a feel about what these scientists and reporters are looking at right now and what they're thinking. Obviously it doesn't look like her because we have some animal parts in there, we have some fur, we have one eyeball, just really weird things. And then obviously when a woman's this tall, it's kind of awkward, and it's just very not normal. So I think that these people are really struggling with what we want to identify with her. So, Keela, you want to talk about the history?
Yeah, this first started with plants going back hundreds of years ago. And it also started in small animals in about the 1960s. However, it didn't really seem possible until like 1997 with Molly the sheep, and they were able to actually do the reproduction part that I was talking about earlier. And she was a really healthy sheep, and she actually worked out. She didn't have any deformities or anything.
So, like I was talking about earlier about how this reminded me of a book I read my senior year, Frankenstein. So in the book Frankenstein, it doesn't like exactly talk about how the body parts were put together. It was just very vague, and Victor Frankenstein kind of just said we put this and this, and then we made the creature. But we're assuming that cloning had to have had a crucial part in making the creature, in order for him to take certain body parts and certain animal parts, and then have someone come to life from that. And like Keela said, with all the different kinds you can do reproduction, other kinds of creating someone through cloning, it is very possible that even though Mary Shelley in the book did not mention how they cloned, that it's a vital part in it. So as you may know, a lot has changed in the cloning world since Mary Shelley wrote the book Frankenstein in about 1818. So Keela wants to talk a little bit more about how cloning was, we talked about how cloning first originated, but now we're going to talk a little bit about how it's developed today and the current standards today, just so that you know the information about what these scientists are dealing with pretty much.
The only thing for cloning so far has been the birthing of a baby. And so what you do is you take the donor egg from the person, and then you remove the nucleus. And then you get a cell from the person that wants to be cloned, so like a mother, and then you fuse it with the egg in the cell. And after that, the egg will fuse. It'll be an egg fused cell, and it'll be implanted in the embryo of the mother carrier. And then the mother will have the clone baby. But it's just really difficult. Like, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. There's a lot of failures that happen. So like, if you're doing this, like, be prepared for miscarriages, or like the baby dying after a couple of days or so. There could be a lot of kidney problems. There could be brain problems later on in life. And it just could be really bad. Like animals, it happens for animals. Like Dolly the sheep. It was really impressive when she was born, because like she didn't have any problems later, but a lot of people actually do have problems later in life, or animals.
So as you guys can tell, it's very hard to clone someone even in today's standards. And it would be very difficult for this woman to have been cloned and survived and not have, any problems. I mean, we do know she has so many deformities, but the fact that she, was living and then died and got murdered, is very, puzzling. It's hard for a lot of people to grasp. But, we will be following this story for a couple weeks now and keeping you posted about, did they say that she was a woman? Did they classify her as an animal? Or what are we naming her? Is it a girl? Is it really a guy? Where did she come from? So a lot of these questions are going to be coming up in our next few videos, and I hope you guys keep watching. Signing out from Wacky Wednesday.